I thought that I would do my first openings video now, and I'm going to do it on an opening which is regarded as the best defense to 1d4 by GM Tim Hilton. I have lost once in a year with this opening. That's how good it is. Now as black, of course, you are going to face usually either e4 or d4, although people do usually throw in stuff like c4 and knight f3 a lot. But really, you should learn a defense to e4 and then one to all the rest. So if your opponents are stupid and play e4, you can punish them with the French or something amazing like that. If they play 1d4, because they know what they're doing, you then play knight f6, not d5, which is classical and boring. Then they play c4, then you play e6, and if they do knight c3, you pin that thing with bishop b4 exclamation mark. And now we have the Nimzo-Indian defense, which was popularized by Aaron Nimzovich, of course. Yeah, the idea is we're going to fight over e4. So obviously if white plays e4, we then have the Dilworth gambit. Because but that's not good, so let's ignore it. Now here white's got a number of alternatives because black's last move doesn't threaten anything. The advantages are for well, white usually has a stronger centre in this opening, and also it usually enjoys the bishop pair against black's bishop and knight. However, black gets fast development, he can castle by move 4, and white usually ends up with very weak double c pawns, and if he doesn't, he loses development time, and then black can try and get the initiative. And it's really good opening because it's solid, but it's quite dynamic at the same time. And loads of like good players have played it, like Karpov, and even Fischer's played it. It's proper amazing. Now I thought I'd look at a couple of white's options. Options are E3. Well, there's E3, the classical variation. So we will have a look at that first. And then to this, you can either like castle or I quite like b6, and then white can either put the knight on f3 and the bishop on d3, or the knight on e2 and then to g3. Let's say knight f3, bishop b7, fighting over e4, bishop d3, putting the bishop on an active square. And then black can, I don't know, castle or something like that. And then follow up with c5 and knight c6. And the position chances are pretty equal. Oh, and if the knight comes to e2, then this is also fine, because although it guards against the potential double pawns, it does waste, but it puts a knight in a silly square. So black can play bishop b7, and say white plays knight g3, then we can castle. And see, the problem with this e3 line is, although it's solid and gets development, it does lock in the c1 bishop, and black should just try and fight over e4 so the bishop remains incarcerated. And always if white plays a3, you swap on c3, for example. And we've got this. However, I don't play against e3. I never seem to get e3, so I'm not very knowledgeable on this line. But I am more knowledgeable on queen c2, which is popular these days at top level. Capablanca, it's a Capablanca variation because you're fighting over e4. But I like his knight c6, attacking d4 because white's queen's just left it, knight f3. And now what I like to do is play d6, and the idea is that we're going to put all our pawns on dark squares. We're then going to swap the bishop off for the knight, and our remaining bishop will be good, and white's extra bishop won't be able to do anything because it'll be incarcerated by its own pawns. Because the thing is, in this line, white isn't going to get double pawns, because he can take with the queen. So something might happen like this. Say a3 takes, queen takes, castles, e3, queen e7, bishop d2, e2, or maybe d3, doesn't matter which. Well, it does, but just for the sake of this. And now you play e5, d5, knight b8, and if you have a look at this position, white's other bishop is pretty bad, and black's got well, black's behind in development, but it doesn't really matter so much because of the close position. Black's remaining bishop's good, and black can face the future with confidence. Against queen c2, there's also the interesting move d5. The idea is that this looks a bit like a queen's gambit declined, but white's queen's already committed to c2, and black's bishop is aggressively posted on b4. And if c5 follows up quickly, then play can become very sharp. In a video, I might actually do a video on like some line which in queen c2 Nimzo, where I think white sacrifices a rook or something and gets his king drawn out to f3. So that'll be interesting and good fun. Another line for white at move 3 is to kick the bishop away with a3, which is the Siamish line. After takes, you see that white has got these very weak c pawns, double c pawns, and black should aim for immediate pressure with b6. So black's going to put the bishop on a6, then maneuver the knight from c6 to a5, and try and win c4. But white does get a strong centre as compensation. White usually goes f3, bishop b7, e4, knight c6, oops, sorry, not bishop b7, sorry, bishop a6, pardon me, e4, knight c6, and black's going to put the knight in a5, and there's an interesting queen manoeuvre where you got queen c8 to b7 to c6, which is to put more pressure on c4, which is very hard to defend because no other pawn can protect it. And this is dynamically equal. White will usually sacrifice the pawns on the queen side to get some king side play, and it's some very good games, like Botvinnik played it against Tal a lot in the World Championship. Also possible is f3, which Sherov played a lot. There is also a gambit called the Hilton Gambit, which I did a video on, or a game I played with it, and it is not to be tried at home. Black can now either play d5, c5, knight c6, which usually transposes into the Siamish line, or we can castle. The main line goes d5, a3, takes, and now you can hit him with c5, c takes, knight takes, and then the main line is d takes c5, exclamation mark, question mark. And Yuri Yakovich has wrote a very good book on this line. However, I do not recommend this line at all because it leads to an open position. And I presume playing d4 you don't like open positions. But you noticed that white's bishop pair can be very dangerous in this line, but black's got good attacking chances against white's king as well, helped by a massive lead in development, because you notice that white hasn't developed a single piece in 8 moves. And it can be good fun, I suppose, but I'd never play it, and you have to be very careful in this line. You have to know your theory, unlike me. What else is there? There's of course Queen B3, Queen B3, which is a Spielman variation. This looks like an improvement on the Queen C2 variation because you're attacking black's bishop, but you can just play C5 and defend it, if takes, knight c6. And white's queen is badly misplaced. d4 and e4 have got no protection, and black gets comfortable position. If white plays knight f3, this usually transposes into the classical variation. If g3, which is the Kasparov variation, you can actually get the initiative from white with c5, bishop g2, knight c6. You can see white's plays very slow here. In fact, not bishop g2. It's at knight f3. You got knight e4. You get an initiative from white here, and there's all sorts of like tricks, like queen c2 is bad. c6. It's knight c6. Because knight c6 is best to keep the queen on the d file, so you got queen d3. And then black can say put the knight in c6, queen on a5. But white can obviously survive it, but it's quite a dangerous line. But it's very sharp. But white's development is very slow here. See if there's any other lines. Oh, there's bishop d2 as well. But this is also a sideline because white's bishop is badly misplaced, and black can just simply say castle. Continue development, and black will easily equalise. And another sideline is the Leningrad variation, which I've played a couple of times with success, but it is a sideline for a reason. White's bishop becomes a tactical liability, and you go h6, bishop h4, and now you hit white with c5. Now d5 is the only good move here. And then now you don't usually castle or kingside in this line because you usually want to kick the bishop away with g5, so you can leave the king in the centre, but it becomes very blocked up this line. Say d6, knight f3, e5, and you can leave the king in the centre, and black gets a comfortable game. White castles longer a lot in this line. But anyway, the Nimzo-Indian does have a lot of theory. This is just a little brief introduction. I will do some more lines in more detail later on. And I hope this will persuade you to take up this fascinating defence that many great players have played with considerable success. And please leave any comments and thoughts, and thanks very much.